It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name is Jared Dyke. I wanted to say it's stupid and let's move on, but then you kept going.
I'm Ben Glauser. I don't like any way anybody handled that.
A collusion. Hello, everybody. It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name is Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
Let's get into it. We got lots to cover here. Obviously, we got first things first is I'm going to crack a beer, but Ben's going to abstain. It'll only be for like
a couple of weeks,
6 weeks, or whatever the hell you guys got going on with that. So
I'm coaching later tonight, so I can't drink.
Yeah. The perils of coaching university rugby over here in the U.S. is you get some really crappy training times.
Yeah, 9 to 11 tonight. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I remember those days when I was in college, and that's the time we got logged. I was like, really? Like, I'd like to be either one, just sitting on my couch playing Xbox, or two, asleep by then.
Yeah,
and I guess in college I wouldn't be asleep, but
no, yeah, I would have less of an issue with it in college, really. But I used to hate it when it was when Boston, we used to have to train indoors up in Danvers.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when you busted your face open at like
Yep. It was like freaking
11
10
at
o'clock. Yeah, it was 10:30 at night when I did that. Jeez. That was bad.
Oh,
it was bad. So, but yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. Download, rate, review, find us on your favorite podcast app, share, all that good stuff. We need you all to buy our good friend George a coffee and or beer, because he's busy. The Fantasy Rugby Geek is at work and working hard. Guys going to be very busy coming up here, obviously, especially once we get into like Champions Cup, which is a huge pain in the ass. That'll be after the international window. But then again, during the international window, we know he's going to make use of the official game of the autumn internationals as well. So you'll also be, those of you that participate in that will be digging into him there. So go buy him a coffee, please.
Yep.
So as always, there's no discrimination allowed here for us here on this podcast, and there shouldn't be in sports or in life. We had discussed this last week a little bit, and we'll continue it because it's been brought up again. World Rugby continuing to have this stupid stance on trans players, and they don't at this point, they no longer want to provide the science that they've used to this quote unquote research that they're using at this point. It's like, all right, I want to know where you're getting this information, because if it's just hearsay and you're not asking the players that it affects the most in terms of their teammates and their opponents, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is just one more problem that's killing rugby right now. It's awful.
It is. And that's the problem with, like, it is just plain bigotry. And that's why they don't present anything. They're just like, well, they don't, ultimately what it is they're scared of society changing and are going to use any excuse, whether it's like a real excuse or not. And the problem is that it's given weight. And it shouldn't be. Like,
right.
For those of you out there, when people say, "Oh, well, the science says," okay, well, as Jared said, prove it. Where's that science? And it's just not there. It's just what they want to hear. It's just like one of those, like, it's the old Fox News. Oh, people are saying, this was a thing back in, for some of us who are old, that used to be a thing back in the early 2000s. That's how they would get it. Like, oh, people are saying that, like, the Democrats kick puppies. They must be. And so it's like the same kind of thing here. It's like,
right.
Oh, well, people are saying the science says there's no real science to back it up. It's not real. And ultimately, this is supposed to be an inclusive game. So, everybody has a spot for it. And to say, it's just amazing to me to hear, oh, well, the science says, well, I don't want, like, a trans woman who was born male, running at my, like, whatever, like, my little girl or something like that. And it's like, well, okay, so if they want to go play men's rugby. It's like, so you want them, and there is, their body does change with the transitioning. It does.
Yes.
So, does. So, 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 now what you're saying is they should go play unsafe. Like, you're okay with them being unsafe.
Right.
but not, but not like women playing with women. So it's not real. It's just made up excuses. Don't let people push you around with excuses that aren't real.
Yeah. No,
ultimately.
it's a whole lot of bullshit that people are just trying to shift their view matches, and that's where it's at. You're willing to say this about transitioning person, but you're not willing to say, well, I don't want Marley Packer running over my child. Well,
yeah,
really, what's the difference?
Right.
There isn't, other than your viewpoint of the other person. That's it.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
So a lot of crap.
Right.
A lot of crap. Stupid old men. Also, less sour note. Grab our Patreon. I've now published 2 pieces. Who knew?
Nice.
Who knew? I got it done. Sat here in not the wee hours, but a lot later than I usually would sit at my computer, trying to bang that second one out because things were a little helter-skelter this weekend, so couldn't really put a whole lot down. And there were some score changes too in FRD that I had to go back and reset.
So I was
like,
that's annoying.
And it was only one game, so it wasn't that bad, but that's out there. Obviously, rankings and all that stuff are free. And also, welcome to our newest patron, Sophia. Thank you very much for doing that. We appreciate it so much, and can't tell you how happy we are that we have people that are supporting us, and it really means the world to us to have people like that.
And we will have statistical analysis up soon. My apologies, it's on me for the delay, but I have this thing called work.
What's that?
It's this. They expect me to get things
really
done.
Annoying thing.
and it's been crazy lately. So I've been working fairly late and then coaching, and so that's my bad. Unfortunately, and I'm not going to blame Ed for this. I spent too much time prepping the TRM stuff and not enough on the FRD, which is odd because the confusing thing there is how they track position groups and whatnot. So it's a lot of extra work that I got to do. So my apologies. It'll be up soon.
Yeah, we'll get we have numbers. We just need to put formulas in.
Right. And I want to get that done by the time we go to London.
Yep, definitely.
Which is next week.
Definitely.
Next week. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of, while we're on that subject, we will, like we said, we're going to London. So I think our plan is going to be Friday night when we're there is to find a pub in around where we are. We'll let you know where we are, and to watch the Falcons and Bears game. That's going to be the plan, at least.
Those 2 teams should still be playing next week.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Speaking of, we do. We'll dive into some actual rugby in a second, but we can't ignore, the really sad stuff that's going on around, and the really disheartening stuff overall of Worcester and Wasps. Like, you want to figure out, you want to hit the rewind button on both these clubs and figure out where they went wrong. Then for Wasps, it's now they're talking about going into administration, which we all know is a bad thing, and that's obviously going to cause them to go into automatic relegation if they can prove that they went into administration for another reason that's not that was out of the control. So Wasps likely are going to be saying that they're going into administration and the primary cause of it was COVID. Now, this bond that they had that's kind of causing this whole thing was before that, but I think their reasoning, and I hate it, but I if it gets them to survive and they fix shit, I'd rather that than them go into administration and have them relegated, because that sucks.
Right. And Worcester, I think we know that there's 2 people clearly that are the problem there.
Fuckers.
Wasps, I feel horrible for Wasps, and obviously we're not Wasps supporters, but I feel like we're Wasps appreciators. Like, we've always kind of wished them well, and I like the way they play, and really, the Prem would not be the same without Wasps.
Right.
I honestly can't say the same about Worcester, but that's not.
We still don't want them to go down either.
Right. I don't want them to go away. it's just like if a club like Wasps can get fucked up to this point, that's troublesome.
It is.
So I hope that they can pull themselves out of it, and I hope Worcester can pull themselves out of it. But it seems like the Worcester owners are determined to just destroy the club.
Yeah, that's all I come up with at this point. Honestly,
I can't figure out what the fuck they're doing.
No.
And why they're being like, well, we still need to be part of it. No,
you do not. Nobody wants you a part of it.
Right.
You're making it worse.
Like, you're the problem, go away. And that's the problem with these, again, rich white men going all like, I can do whatever I want. It's like, well, you know what? No, obviously you can, but there's consequences to it.
Yeah.
You can, and you're a dick.
You can do whatever you want, but you have to also deal with the consequences, motherfucker.
Right. So I'm really hopeful that Wasps can pull themselves out. And I feel more positive about them. Like, they're taking steps that are honest and in good faith, and trying to doing the work to save the club. Whereas I just don't feel the same from Worcester. And that's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And they were able to play their game kind of haphazardly earlier today against Gloucester. So it's just the same. It's really disappointing and all around. And Duckworth would be spinning in his grave, I have a feeling, if he knew all this stuff was going on right now. And it sounds like it's just they keep, not only do they want to continue to be part of the club, which nobody wants right now, it sounds like they're also a little money hungry. It's like, well, listen, this terrible investment is your fault. So to try and recoup it because you were the idiots makes no sense.
Yeah.
And you have, this, I don't know if it's an angel investor, but you have this investor that's ready to just inject the money into the club and save it. And these guys are just hell bent on making sure it all goes sour.
Right.
It just, you're only making a worse name for yourself. Just stop.
And that's the thing. Like who would ever want to work with them again? What would they own that people would be like, yeah, you know what? I want to go into business with these people. Nobody's going to be like, yes, I'm eager. And the problem is, being an owner of a sports club means you need to get people to work with you, or being in business in general. So it's like, okay, I'm sure they have other businesses. If I'm dealing with them in, let's put it this way, I work in supply chain for a major health manufacturing company. Like, if I knew that one of my suppliers was or what's one of my suppliers was owned by one of these guys, I'd be like, I'm finding a new business, because I can't trust these people. I need to make sure that I have a good long-term partner. Right. And nope, I'm not working with them. So what are you doing? Like, you're taking these, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, and it's not good for anybody.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Did you see that the Worcester Twitter account, when they tweeted out at one point, they said, we're 65% of the way through the game, so we're out. we're done live tweeting. We're going home.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
that's good.
So that's not a good place to be. Then that's all on ownership.
Nope, not at all. All right, let's move on, semi unpainfully, to something more uplifting. The Rugby World Cup squads for New Zealand coming up should be.
I cannot wait.
So much fun.
So great.
Do we know if it's definitely on Flow, by the way?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense it is, but
I hope it is, because I don't know that anybody else is going to be
Peacock, maybe.
Maybe, but I don't think so, because that would be on their list of things. They have, you can go through and see like Champions Cup, even though it's not up yet, really.
Yeah, damn it, stop being right. Stop making sense. So we're gonna go through a few squads here. Let's start with the hosts. We'll start with the hosts and make life a little easy. New Zealand, obviously, really looking forward to a home World Cup, but also they're defending. They're defending. Yeah. So they're defending their crown, and they're on their home patch. So you got to put them at least in the favorite to make the final. Whether or not they can get it done in the final is probably a big question mark, because they've just not had the same investment that other areas, specifically being England, have in this game. Wayne Smith has come on and done a lot for this team. I think, those that know me personally know I love Wayne Smith. Like, Dude's awesome, and I think he was one of the biggest pieces of the successful All Black squads. So that said, there's some steady names for the Black Ferns, and then there's some other ones that we're going to find out what they actually have. Our favorite, two of our favorites, Ruby Tui and Stacey Fleur, are both in. So
yay!
Yeah, reasons to cheer for these women, as long as they're not playing the U.S.
And even then, a little bit.
Yeah, right. Is this Portia Woodman's last run?
I mean, you got to figure. I know that there's going to be a quick turnaround, I guess, technically, 3 years, but
3 years. Still 3 years later.
Still, yeah. She's been around for so long that
right.
I got to figure that this is her last run.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Especially if assuming they win, she's going to win the World Cup, in her home country. You kind of, when you're at towards the end of your career, that's one where you're just like, yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah. Bow out right there. I wouldn't blame her a bit.
Yeah. She's 31.
So 34 isn't awful, but
it's possible, but she's, at a from where you need speed and power. Like, I don't know, maybe she changes her position and stays in.
Maybe we do know that this is Coxedge's last go she's done after this one. So if nothing else, I'm sure the girls will be raring to go to get her over the line and get her one more. For the forwards are interesting because there's not necessarily a ton of experience compared to say Coxedge, obviously, and Coxedge, who's 61. Nobody has nearly that in the forwards. Right. I think the most
is McMenamin with 27.
Yeah. So
she's Wycliffe is a back. So yeah.
Yeah. Nope. I like the way the Brenner sisters looked in games I've seen this year so far. So that's going to be interesting to me. And really, they need to sort out the lineout. They need to find the thrower that can throw. Never mind anything else, because if you can't win your own lineup ball, you are totally boned. Yeah. And yes, you can carry certain things over the line a little bit, but yeah, you can't win your own lineup ball. Forget it. Especially against some of these better teams.
It's a problem. It would be problematic, a little troublesome.
Yeah. So find the hooker that can throw and then go from there.
And I don't know if we've talked about this before, but is it Michaeli Tu'u any relation to?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I was looking at it before, and I was trying to remember. What my result was. I think it is. Yes.
Let's just say yes.
Yeah, we'll go yes for now, because I would say that how many of them are related to that, but you never know. Right. That could be a very common name depending on where they're from.
Right.
So maybe not. Don't know. Let's see. Yeah, they don't have anything. I don't see anything listed.
All right.
Balls. Oh well.
No worries. She should stand on her own though. That's not. Yeah. It's not. It has nothing to do with anything else other than a nice
connection.
Trivia. Yeah.
Yeah. Trivia question.
Right.
So we'll see. This is like I said, a fairly inexperienced pack compared to their back line. So that's going to be kind of their determining factor. They go as far as that unit carries them.
Yep.
Let's go to France, because they're an interesting one. We expect them to make the semifinal and then see what happens from there. And they've been second banana to England, but they might be able to beat. They did beat the Black Ferns, although this was what was it, last fall, and the Black Ferns had not played any test rugby up to that point. So
no,
the French had already played at least 6-7 matches to that point.
Right.
So
right.
Big difference, especially after a long layoff with COVID. That was so unhelpful in so many ways. So it's, and there's some names that I love, and there's some names that'll probably be going by the wayside once they're done. India is pretty old, no?
She's born in 88.
Okay, so
yeah, she's 34.
So this is definitely I think this is her last
run. Yeah, although definitely. Maybe she tries to stick around for to host it, but I
they're in England next time.
Oh, I thought they were. Oh, were they just in France? Did I have that all backwards?
Men are in France. That's it.
Oh, I thought it was France and France. Okay,
Nope,
never mind.
no, it's now England. And then yeah, they did that, and then they started awarding both to the same country,
Yeah.
which I'm okay with. I kind of like that. That's
Mhm.
it's a good idea. There's some other fun names for me. I like Joyo. I thought she was great when she was in. If I'm remembering the right person here, it's the fullback that plays for France, and I love the way she plays, and she's very she's very gutsy. She likes to
I'm
run
thinking
from.
of is it Boulard? There's Boulard because
Nope.
Julia is a prop.
Okay, then it's Jacquet. That's the one. Sorry.
Jacket. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
okay. That's right.
crossing them up. My fault.
Yeah.
Same letter, man.
Right.
Sorry, dyslexia. Yes, Jacquet. Sorry, my fault. You're right. Damn it, you're all right. Just being right. Didn't we talk about that already?
Hey, I'm the one. I'm not drinking, so I have a reason. I have
Yeah.
good excuse for being correct.
Yeah, you do actually. So yeah, I like the way she plays. She's very good. Yeah, it is this gonna. So it's almost like the women are starting to become. Um, the expectations are grown to the point where they're almost the same as the men in terms of they get there, they get to the semifinal, or they get to the knockouts, and they just don't quite get it done to the next level that they should. So will they get to the final?
It depends on who they play in the semi. Like,
Yeah.
I've said it because we talk about this with the US, and we'll get to them too. But like, if you can't beat either England or New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know the pools, I haven't gone too in depth enough into that. But like, unless England play New Zealand in a semi, you're probably going to lose your semi.
Right. So yeah, they don't have the exact one runs laid out. Right. It's you want to keep I mean it's like it's going to happen next year with France as well. It's going to be like can you avoid a certain team? And I think there's one that's going to have a ton of them, and it's like there's one side of the bracket that's going to have some really good ones, and it'll probably be the same with this one as well. But you just don't want to. Yeah, if you're France and you can avoid England up till at least the semifinal, then
Right.
you probably give yourself a fighting chance.
Exactly. They have a puncher's chance, I think is how I'd put it.
Yep.
Like, you throw a punch here. Like they're talented. So if they do a couple things right, they could win it all.
Right.
It might help if they only have to play one of England or New Zealand. If they have to play both, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's a tough road.
Yeah.
But to that point, if they play them both and they win, nobody can question them again. Nobody can. It'll be always okay. France are for real. It's no longer going to be that question mark over the head. So we'll see. They don't play it on the paper; they play it on the field. So we'll see how.
And they could win on the field. They're not terrible by any stretch. They're easily they're a top 3 team in the world. So
yes,
that means you can win.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Let's go to our girls, the Eagles. Also another team that for our sakes, we are expecting that they make the semifinal, and anything less is a disappointment.
Yes.
I don't think that's wrong. Anybody that wants to correct me on that, please do. So
let's not trying to correct you on that.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. We got a couple of locals for our sakes over here in Boston. 4, I think. Did I count right? 1, 2, 3. Yep, 4.
Who am I? So Beiser.
Yeah, Beiser, Kaylee, Jarrell, and I missed Treader.
Okay.
And I do want to point out Erica Jarrell, because she was someone that you and I saw in person, and we were like, she's fucking good.
Yeah.
And we're like, she should not be here. She should be somewhere else. So I was hoping that she'd end up overseas, and it hasn't happened yet. Doesn't mean if she shows well here, she won't, because I bet you she will, but it hasn't happened yet.
I don't see how she's a prop at this level, though. But
no, she won't be. I fully anticipate her playing in the second row. I always scratch my head when I see that in the lineup for them. I'm like, prop? Really? I mean,
she's
I
like
get
6'2".
it. She's strong.
Yeah,
I get it. Like, that's 9 times out of 10. That's what you really need,
right,
in that area. But not here. No. Yeah, you
And
need
she
to.
has a lot of value in the loose too. That if
Yes.
you're at prop, you take away from that value because it's just you're so tired from scrummaging and lifting and all that
Mhm.
that the running around. And I've said that before. It does limit you. Um, so I yeah, lock or even the 6 I would see there. But so
Yep.
it's weird to see her at prop or listed as a prop.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in the scrum half battle as well.
Mm-hmm.
We know Carly Waters is probably the incumbent in this whole thing. Um, Really, it's down to Kaylee and Ortiz, and
Mm-hmm.
from what I remember of Kaylee, I liked it a lot better than what I saw of Ortiz. Not taking away from Ortiz and that she's
Right.
not talented, but from what I saw of Bridget, it was better.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot more positive. Like Ortiz, I thought was too inconsistent,
mhm,
and for every throw, every service, you were like, oh, that's pretty good. There was a service you're like, no,
barf,
yeah,
nope, nope.
and Kaylee, when the team has their butt up, Kaylee's the one you want there because she will keep it moving. Like I think she's one of those who or no, it was Ortiz where it was like it was weird. It was like if it was just a nice slow ball, like she everything was set, she would just fuck it up. Like it's like almost if she has to think, it doesn't work, and then
Mhm.
it works in the loose. Kaylee is more. She's maybe not as strong when it's like extremely open play, um, but her fundamentals are much better.
Yeah,
So it's like you
that's what
can
I'm
learn
looking at.
how to do well in the loose, but if you can't give decent service on slow ball, you
Mhm.
shouldn't be an international scrum half.
No, I totally agree. The one glaring non-selection is Alicia Washington. She's a non-traveling reserve right now,
Mm.
and that is huge in a lot of ways. And I don't know if that's a message from Rob Kane or if that is a sign of the tide turning and the next chapter coming
She's
for the team. I don't know.
Yeah, she's not young. It's
No,
not like
she isn't. But
she's
I figured she had one more left in the tank.
so
But
yeah, but maybe she does. We haven't seen her. I don't think we've seen her since.
she was not in this last squad that traveled. I know that
Yeah,
played. So
so maybe she's fallen off. I mean, I'm just not
maybe.
sure.
Yeah, and we will have the World Cup debut of, for at least for the Eagles, of Lottie Clapp. All right,
Yay!
yay, into that. Um, I see. I definitely see the two of them as Lottie Clapp and Tetavo as the wings,
Mm-hmm.
unquestionably in my brain. Whether or not that's right, but that's where I'm at right now in terms of that. Uh, Fullback is he seems pretty hell bent on picking left Kelter there.
Which
I
is
really don't love
awful.
it.
Put her at center.
Mm. Next to Howard too, especially since we're kind of we have Cantorna at 10, we have Howard at 12, and I don't know who the heck else is going to play at 13 at this point. So
Right.
I don't think it's um I don't think it's Beiser. So, and she's the one that played last minute at that
Mm-hmm.
position the other week. I think I'd rather see Tess Fury.
Yeah.
That's just
Yep.
that's me.
I mean, yeah. If I'm in there, like, yeah, if I'm the coach, Test Fury is at fullback and Kelter's at outside center because you want to get her the ball. Like, you want Kelter to have access to the ball in a good position to attack, and she's going to get that a lot more at 13 than she is at 15. And we
Mhm.
saw most recently when they played, and she moved from 15 to 13, because they brought Fury in, and suddenly that attack just changed. It got
Agreed.
more open, more threatening, and you're going to have to, like when you're up against a New Zealand, England, or a France, you're going to need some attack.
Mhm.
So and some continuity there, and she provides that at 13 that she doesn't at fullback. So um, in this case, yeah, and she's a good defender, so I guess I get that's why Kane wants to put her at 15. But in this case, like you got to score points.
Mhm.
Having a good defense doesn't mean anything if you can't score points because you're going to be playing England, France, New Zealand,
Yep.
like these teams that can score. Whether or not you have a good defense, they're going to score on you. So you're going to have to
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
back.
You have to be able to keep up with them almost. When the keep that race at least tight
Yeah.
up until whenever. All right. Then finally, which the team is probably that's probably the favorites. England.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of shock in that. There's still some players that probably are racing to get back to this, but for now they're going to be left out. Uh, we still have a stacked team. Sarah Hunter could be the most captain England player by the time that it's all said and done, depending on how many pool games she plays, and obviously by the end of it in general. So that's pretty astounding and also exciting. Scarrett's looking for another one. She didn't lift the last one though, did she? Somebody else did. Who was the captain of the 2014 team? It wasn't her. Was it Hunter? I can't remember.
I don't recall.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's still freaking stacked.
It's everywhere. At every position, they're stacked. It's not fair.
No, like they have good talent up front, and then they have young, up and coming, enthusiasm to backfill, which is just ridiculous. It really is, and this speaks more to the level that England have invested in their women's program than to certainly compared to other countries, and even their main competitor, which is New Zealand, not even close at this point.
Right.
Like friend of you and myself, Ollie and I were talking. We're like, talk about teams that are just have been out resourced. Like, you think England's out resourced a lot of teams for the men, the women? Forget it. It's just like so over the top. And I appreciate it from the RFU. At the same time, the rest of the world needs to fucking pick up their shorts here and catch up, because we're the rest of the world's trying to catch these folks with our underdrawers around our ankles. So it's not really helpful at the moment. So I hope that comes good. So we'll see how it goes. There was one that caught my eye for selection. I'm trying to make sure I didn't make this up in my head. Was it Kabea from Loughborough? Very young pick. I remember seeing her when they had her last time. It was pretty wild. So I like that pick for her.
I'm just shocked that Abby Dow is playing.
Yeah,
I thought she was out for,
talk about a race for fitness,
right, for much longer than this. So, yay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no joke. Okay, that was a pretty horrendous one, if I remember correctly.
It was not. Yeah, didn't look good. It didn't sound good at all. And the fact that she's back so quickly. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I remember that one. I was like, ooh, that is less than awesome. It was a pretty stomach turning thing going on with that. So and unquestionably the favorites, without a doubt. Just you look at the players that this team's going with. Sarah Byrne is probably the best prop forward, certainly in the women's game, if not bar none. But damn, she's up there.
She is.
So,
and her and Shauna Brown, and
love Shauna Brown. I saw her. I saw that she got picked.
And of course, we love Hannah Botterman too. She's just a force.
She's a card.
Love the props that are chosen for this.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So, buckle in, kids. We start like.
Is there a reason that Simi Pam? I mean, we talk about Sarah Byrne. Simi Pam is right up there, but I'm wondering if
I don't know. I wonder
if professional status as a being a doctor and all.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, because I don't know. You would think she would be on the list, but if she's decided that she needs to prioritize her personal career, and I wouldn't blame her a bit, because she definitely wouldn't be one of the fully professional players quite yet, so she would have to really pick and choose. So maybe after this World Cup, we could start to see her get worked into the England team, especially while there's some home games or there's some local games that she can participate in, as opposed to having to get on a plane and go halfway across the world. A lot different. A lot different. All right. Spend about 10 minutes on this, so let's cue in on a couple of really important things from the Rugby Championship this past weekend. We'll obviously going to start with the Thursday fixture with All Blacks and Australia, Bledisloe Cup. So first off, let's go kind of chronologically in order here. The first thing that I think everybody will be talking about, and I don't know what the result is yet, will be the clear out from the ruck from Darcy Swain against Quinn Tupaia. We know Quinn. We know that's it.
That came out. Yep.
Jesus. So he's. I mean, he'll miss the rest of international rugby. I think.
So here's the other thing though, and again, since I've been seeing some of this, he was added to the Australia A team that's touring Japan, and so So I'm wondering if that's
with that shit.
Clears. That's how he's gonna clear out some of that suspension. Is he'll travel, but can't play because he's suspended, and that's the way to sneak him back in for the internationals.
He should not play until a few weeks into Super Rugby.
Yeah.
Bottom line, like minimum. That is, I like Darcy Swain and the headbutt against Johnny Hill, though Johnny Hill's a douchebag.
Right.
Really make me question what type of game he's playing, because at this point, I see in Super Rugby a lot of good stuff, and then he gets to international level and becomes a complete helmet. And it really isn't something that I like. So it's making me question whether or not I want to be a Darcy Swain fan right now, because that was dirty and the headbutt's just stupid. But still, like, you don't want to start throwing headbutts and dislocating knees, because that's how you get yourself a bad reputation.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
And you don't put yourself out there like that at all.
No.
And it was so stupid too. He was off, like everything about that was bad. And I don't think I don't think he intended to do it, but you got to be smarter about what you're doing. Like I don't think there was an intent to injure. It was just, but like, you're offside. First off, you're not back. You're not coming through the gate. You're coming in through the side. And it was because of all that his own teammate kind of ran into his own teammate to go. And that's what knocked him down, at least from what I could see. And it's like, and that's what drove him into Tupaia's knee. And it's like, fuck, dude, like no regard, like for any of the laws.
Nope.
And that, you injure someone.
Yeah.
I will say this about that whole sequence of play, though.
Mm-hmm.
I was very disappointed in Clark, because he had the line break, and like, and I'm not blaming Clark for what happened to Quinn Tupaia, but that should have been a try with nobody getting touched at all. So that's kind of what like, I'm watching that, because I'd already known when I was watching the match, that what happened. I didn't know when it had happened in the game, but I knew that what had happened to Quinn. And as Caleb Clark's running on the field, I'm like, that's got to be a try. Somebody, he might not score, but he's got to be ready to set up the next guy, and he wasn't. He was just all in it for himself. And then that happened afterwards. I was like, oh fuck, like that's even worse. Like, dude, if you had just looked to pass, it prevents the whole situation where guys are scrambling and having to stretch the rules in order to prevent a try. It's like, just score. So that's not to blame Caleb for what happened to Quinn. It's just Caleb Clark, it's just a dimension that Caleb Clark needs to add to his game. Yes, he's an excellent runner. Got to be a better teammait.
Yeah.
But then again, nothing to do with the injury. Just to notice that, like, dude, come on, be better.
Yeah. And really, it was the injury and then the decision from Reynal red all day.
Yeah.
And that was poor.
Yeah, it was poor.
So no shock there. That was poor. And, I don't think anybody would deny that. And then fast forward. So here's the thing. We'll get to what happened with Bernard Foley and Reynal, but the lead up to that, and I went back, I'm like, all right, where could this have been stopped? Because we can end this conversation if there's something that Australia has done that shot themselves in the foot, and what it was Famasili going off his feet, like very, very blatantly at that. I was like, dude, I'd call that, and I'm not a world referee. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that was really stupid. And that's what pinned them in the corner. And I believe that's the penalty that Whitelock called to the corner, and it led to everything else afterwards. So really, you want to look back and talk about Reynal's decision-making, you can solve your own problem right there by not doing that, clearing your lines and or just eating the clock, and done. Game over. but it didn't. But that's not what happened. But we still have to talk about it. And right now, and I want to know your thoughts because I don't think we talked in depth about what happened. So I'll let you go, and then I'll plug in where I need to see fit.
So this is on Foley.
Yeah, the Foley right now. Yep.
Fucking kick it, you fuck. What the fuck?
I was hoping you'd say that.
Like all these people who are like, "Oh, this wasn't fair." No, it was fucking fair. And I'll tell you what. I mean, obviously we'll talk. We won't talk about it because it had nothing to do with the way the fucking match went. But what was it? Opening minute of the Bears match, and Randall gets pinged for the same fucking thing. The referee says use it. He didn't use it. All right, fuck you. Scrum the other team.
Right.
That's how it goes. Like it doesn't matter anything else. If the referee says fucking kick, if he stops the fucking clock to come over and tell you when I restart this, you are kicking the ball. You've clearly pissed him off. So fucking kick the ball. His own teammates were yelling at him. So no,
you could see the back line in the background, like, dude, kick the damn thing.
Like, this is me saying that a French referee did this correctly because they did. Reynal was right. Well, there's nothing more to say.
Like, no.
I didn't give him. Okay, you don't have to like it. He gave you every warning possible.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, and the number one thing is, and I don't remember who said it, but it was very on point. Like I think it was Squidge. They failed to play to the referee, and that is the most annoying thing about rugby that you have to do. But you still have to do it, and especially when it's been pretty blatantly laid out that you need to do this thing or you got to turn the ball over.
Right.
You know, so there's that, and honestly, even still, and you know that's annoying as hell. But it's only a scrum. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty try. They still had a chance to stop it. They didn't, but you know, you still had your chance. You have to pick your shorts up and say, all right, let's buckle in and get one set piece done, and we can be done anyway. And they did.
What was he waiting for? Why was he delaying? I don't understand any of it.
Somebody was saying he was trying to get his forwards' attention. Dude, make sure you find touch. Just boot it out. Make sure you find touch.
You have one job. Kick it to touch. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. If you're really that worried about it, then maybe you shouldn't be kicking the ball.
Right. But either way, that's they give the ball to someone else. Right. I don't get it.
I don't either. Nope.
And I don't get how people are I don't understand any of the referee was no. If anybody could feel aggrieved, it's New Zealand for like he gave them every opportunity. Like what he should just he shouldn't have stopped. I don't think he should have stopped the clock. I think he should just fucking award it. We're here to play, right? We're not here to dick around. So
and as that turnover happened, he's even telling him like, yeah, you need to play this. Like, he's trying to get it out in front of it, and fucking guy's not doing it. So got what he deserved.
Right. No,
that's where it's at.
No qualms about any of that.
Yeah, you know, this is still a good Australia team. Don't get me wrong. That was a hell of a match on top of everything, and it's just too bad this kind of tainted it because that was a match worthy of being shown in a lot of places.
And I don't see that as tainting it, except for the reaction.
Right. Maybe that's more what it is.
And and this goes back to that fucking beat asshole Razzie for setting the standard that it's okay to whine about refs for them doing their job. And that's got to stop.
Yeah, certainly not by the coaching staff.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's the fans too, and I get it. You want it. I didn't want that to happen. Okay, well then blame your dipshit 10 who made it happen.
Right. And
not the ref. This is me telling you not to blame the French ref. So
right. No shit. And and there's one Australia personality that's really starting to get on my bad side, and that's Drew Mitchell. There's been a few things that he's been on the wrong side of thus far, so I'm wondering if he just has some weird warped reality in his brain. So I'm going to avoid anything he says for a little while, and maybe it goes back to being fairly neutral. But right now, he's just been on the wrong side of a lot of things that I've been like, "The fuck you talking about?" So he's going on to the do not disturb list right now for me. I don't want to fuck with that guy. He's annoying the hell out of me. Okay, and then briefly. We did have another match over in Argentina, and I have to say the atmosphere in the stadium for the Pumas was absolutely fantastic. That is not, I can't say I've seen an atmosphere for them quite to this level, and it was really awesome to see. So kudos to everybody from Argentina for making that happen, because that's what they need. That's what a team like that needs. And there's discussion about, well, if there's going to be another developing country or whatever World Cup awarded, that might be another place to do it. And I'm inclined to agree. I really am. So that was fantastic by them. The match, yeah, Springboks dominated eventually, and they got back into it a little bit. The Pumas did, but
they did.
Yeah, there came a point. I think that was when that might have been with one of the cards as well. So that might have been probably a help. I would guess at least. And so it's but that's good stuff. We need to see that stuff from the Argentinians. We want to see all that.
Right, make it a game. Make it a game against some of the best in the world. So
yeah, really, 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 really pleased with that. So hopefully this is the type of crowd, the type of atmosphere that they continue to develop as they get more home games, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah, South Africa are also in need of a 10 because they've sent Yanchis home for a completely different reason. I saw that. Pollard's hurt. He's hanging out in Leicester trying to get treatment. Willems is down right now. I think it sounds like they're gonna have to go to Mornestein or maybe Franstein something. Yeah, and that's for the decider, because we got one more big game coming up this weekend. It'll be very interesting to see how that goes. Looking forward to it. The other rugby that happened, the Premiership. We will not spend too much time on this, but we do need to get into it. Let's go to Northampton and London Irish. Northampton just owned them. They really did. Just London Irish could not get out of their own way in a lot of ways. I don't know what they were doing. I really don't. And I know the guy steering the ship is kind of a dick, and this might be karma coming back to bite him. But it all started with the freaking helmetedness of freaking Tom Pearson. Like, he is lucky he did not get a red. Like, they determined he made contact on the body beforehand. I was like, lucky boy.
That was
like a red.
I mean, I thought yellow. Like, I thought it would be yellow to a harsh red, and they were kind of like I thought it was kind of on the line. I thought, at first blush, I thought yellow, and then after watching a couple times, I'm like, oh, it could be a red, and it really wasn't considered. I thought they went pretty nice on him. I think also because he's young, maybe they didn't want to over punish it, but I don't know.
Yeah, still not great. And it was a pretty ugly period for the Exiles as well. It was yellow there, yellow for Arundel for chucking the ball out on purpose, and then the yellow on the goal line for Simmons. And really, you thought that might be the end for the Saints, and like they really just spit the bit and coughed up opportunities. And granted, they had a period of time in the second half where they had the advantage, but still they just didn't do a whole lot with it.
No,
until the slate home try.
They didn't score anything on the yellow card period there.
No,
aside from obviously the kick from off the Pearson kick, like Grayson slotted it.
Yes, but
how do you have three yellows and not score on that period is a little beyond me.
Yeah, that's a less than good sign. I will say
they were still up when Slightholm scored.
I think just barely. Yeah,
I don't know if
they had one in the bin still.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, because I don't think that Simmons had come back. He obviously the play was still ongoing, so I don't think that he had come back on.
Yeah, but in either way, like, that does take a lot of energy out of your team to have 12 players on the field and having to defend. So I think in a way it paid off just the same, because they got the Slightholm try, then Mitchell tried shortly after that.
Right.
And after that, once that happened, it started to look like, they were just going to sail home, and eventually did. They didn't really get too close, although that the Will Joseph try that Arundel assisted on.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Awesome. So it's,
and of course, Ollie Hassel-Collins has to get his garbage time try for his fantasy owners. So.
Duh. What else do you do? You don't do that? So each team eats a loss and is also on the board as well. So be interesting to see how those two go forward. Those are two of the question mark teams. Obviously, Saints got into the top 4 last year, and they're hoping to do better for the sake of the Exiles. They obviously want to punch higher as well.
I don't think the Exiles are quite ready yet.
No, they just don't quite look it.
Yeah,
they don't quite look it. Unfortunately, the Prem fucking website doesn't want me to pull up the Bath sale stuff, but at the same time, we kind of know the story of the match. It was
John O'Ross scored a try in this match. Is there really anything else?
The barometer.
Yeah, it's not coming up. That match report is not coming up for me either. So
yeah, all right. No, at least I know it's not my computer.
It's not just you. It's Prem. Great job.
Prem. Way to go, guys. Problem number one. But we do know that there was a red card in this match, and it's teams can go two ways, and I'm talking about both teams when you have an incident like this, especially a red.
I missed
yellow.
It, so I saw a few minutes. I saw the John O'Ross try, and I was like, all right, I don't need to watch this anymore.
So it happens in any match when you see cards. Does one team raise it a level? Does one team sink? And the inverse happened. It was Sale raised it a level, and Bath just sunk. And I was like, well, that's not really going to do you a whole lot of good.
No.
And really, there was a point where it was kind of close, but eventually Sale just, took over. Tom Curry scored a really good looking try. He actually looked like he remembered how to attack, which is nice.
But is it because they're playing Bath?
I don't know. Cam Redpath looked like the old,
good,
which is what we want.
That's necessary.
That's only helpful for them. And I'm kind of there's two players on Bath I do want to talk about, and JJ. I can kind of see him getting faded out this year, honestly. And then the two wings, Coca and Muir, both look great. Muir looks like somebody that you definitely want on your team because he is just finding work no matter what's going on in the match. He was chasing down kicks and tipping them back and gathering them and all that shit, and then and just making meters and stuff like that. And Coca's finishing, which is what he's supposed to be able to do, and he did. He finished twice, so credit to him. Glanville looked like his old self. Whatever the hell happened the previous week, I have no idea, but looked a little better at least. So there are some good things for Bath and positive signs, but still a lot of work for Johan van Graan to do.
Yep.
Anderson, Sale, undefeated. So they're, that's something right there for them to hang it on. And they still have a few players that they could afford to get back. So that's going to be, that's actually a little scary. Not going to lie. And then to the stoop. This was probably the match of the week.
Box office.
This is probably the match of the week, and I'm not just saying that because of the Saracens. This was entertaining.
No, it's that these are the two. This is the best matchup of the week. They're like maybe the only other one that you would think would be. I mean, Saints Exiles is another one that you're like, okay, you know what, I want to see that because there's some pop there, and Wasps Bristol. Yes, but this is the two, these two teams are top four. Nope, absolutely. So this is it. Bristol and Wasps are kind of fighting for that, second tier. So we're kind of Saints and Irish. They have hopes of squeaking into the top four, and kind of Bristol do too. But this is it. This would be if the Prem Rugby, as their COO said last week, wants a spectacle. Imagine this match in prime time, free to air for everyone in England. You'd get a lot more rugby fans that way.
Yeah.
And all the dominance by the stars. Right. Yeah. Max Malins, Elliot Daly scored, Malin scores two.
Dom, even though he got pulled, Murley.
Marchant. Yeah. Like these, Murley. Yeah. Like so much spectacle and stars and storylines.
Billy.
Oh, Vinopol. Yeah. Ben Earl. All these guys, when Jared and I were texting at the end of the game, like, okay, so who's man of the match here? It's like,
because apart from the first 20 minutes, everybody in the Saracens really put a hell of a shift in, and it's not what we were expecting. We were definitely that was the rust, and it took them that long to bang it off, and then all of a sudden they figured it out, and here's the thing, and that was really, really, it was something that we talked about last week. Like, will they run? And they started with the box kick bullshit, and both you and I were like, what the actual fuck?
Right. And Murley puts 2 tries in on him real quick, and it's like,
yes, and rightfully so. And he nicked. Was it Don Brand? He nicked one off freaking Ben Sale. I was like, oh, you
Mhm.
fucking idiot, Ben Sale.
Oh no, that was Farrell who tried to slap it back. To a
No,
teammate.
that was all. That was all. That also happened.
Yeah.
There was
Oh,
two
okay.
things. Yeah, Don Brandt was a pain in the ass in two ways.
Yeah.
He did so. Yeah, he nicked it off him, and I think he gave it. And that's the one he fed to Murley for his second. And
Yeah.
then there was the one that he got that he fed to Marchant for that one as well.
Right. Yep.
And it was like, oh man, this is not what we need. And at least in the second one where he fed it to Marchant, they were trying to attack. They were trying to be enthusiastic about hanging onto the ball and go and taking it from one end of the field to the other, or at least making your changing your territory in a different way other than a fucking box kick. So as they get better at that, those types of errors will come less. So I will live with that in the end, because they're trying to be ambitious, and the fact that they didn't go away from it after that speaks to their confidence in what they can do. So for me as a Saracens fan, that excites me,
right?
And there's two guys that are going to go get to hopefully watch these guys do it in person.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah. I want to see them play like that. Like I want, if I'm, especially when I'm paying money to go see them live, I want to see that. And we did see that promising, was it a Telegraph article where they were talking about, yeah, we want to run more. Like we have to adjust to the way the game is played.
Have it in your locker at least,
yeah.
And we knew they had it, but they just almost like refused to use it unless it was like dire needs. And I think they just need to be more willing. I think more teams in general, you need to have both. And for me as a coach, like in my own team, like I know what we need to do against certain teams and in certain conditions where it's like, fuck, I hate this shit, but there's no way we're gonna have a productive game if we try and chuck the ball around and it slips out of our hands 10 times, like because it's windy, it's rainy, it's muddy, whatever. But have them both in your locker and lean towards the let's run and attack, because as we've already seen, rugby has a problem in terms of fandom and viewership and whatever. Let's put a product onto the TV, onto the field that people can go to games, turn on the telly and say, that is fucking awesome shit right there.
Right. Because I'll tell you this much. It's not just, we're not anti-kick. Don't get us wrong. There was some vintage Owen Farrell, and this is what fucks me up. There was some vintage Owen Farrell in that match when that attempted 50-22 that with the Green, I think was like kind of stopped it from going out. Now at StoneX on the 4G, that's in touch. That's a 50-22. That ball's gonna bounce so fast it's by him, like no question. The grass will slow it up there. But Owen Farrell back in the day used to be his bread and butter. I'm going to put it there, and then but he would run the fullback back and forth with those kind of kicks. And I have, since the 50-22 came into play, it's like they've just been launching high balls, and it's like, dude, I'm sick of fucking high balls. It's not good because as you've seen it, like anything could happen. They could just catch it and just run for a try because somebody gets. Somebody misses the ball or there's a bounce. Like there's so much crazy shit that could happen. You're not really, you're kind of flipping a coin, and but it's like a 20-sided coin, and who knows what's going to come of it. This is, a kick for to change field position, even if it goes to, bounces into touch, changes the, that puts the other team in a position where they have to do something like kick it away. You kick that ball into touch inside the 22, and suddenly the other team is playing out and they're kicking it back to you. And now you have to start with a line out, likely in their territory, and have good attacking field position, attacking stance and platform, rather than this kicking a high ball and who the fuck knows what's going to happen. So I'm glad that's coming into it, because that's real rugby action.
And last thing that I can say about that is we know you and I are not fans of these nines. They don't put up a ton of the one that did it the best from a box kick for the series was Wigglesworth, and he put it up there for competition. Like we saw Lewington grab a couple of them and run them in for a try. Like that's what he was capable of. Neither of these guys have that capability, nor do they do it on a consistent basis where the ball goes up and we have a chance to compete for it. More often than I'd like, it goes too far and it's just easy catch for the other team. They spin it, or they look for another attack or whatever. Or they look to kick it back. Neither of those things is awesome. And honestly, if they are willing to go and continue to do this stuff, I'm
Mm-hmm.
Ruben de Haas. Ruben de Haas. I'm telling you guys, like, he can play this game. He can play both games, but he can play that attacking game and probably do it better than Vince Sale at the very least. So yeah, so that annoys me about McCall, but hopefully he eventually gets his head out of his ass about that one, because the Haas is so young, but he still needs minutes to get better, and he just is refusing him minutes right now. It's annoying as hell. Annoying AF. All right. Let's go to Alfred Road. Tigers and Falcons. Well,
Yeah,
this was over quick.
it was always going to go in one direction, and Nemanja Nadolo scored. He scored 4 tries in this match, and they only allowed 2 of them.
I think Ashley had 2. Did Ashley have 2?
I thought he only had the 1. Yeah, he only had 1.
Yeah, okay. I thought he had 2. I'm losing my mind, clearly. Yeah, it was, man. And so I want to harp on one guy, and there are people out there that for whatever reason that are Newcastle fans that love this guy, and I ain't seeing it. Peter Lukac, no idea what he adds to this team. The fucking center for them.
I know. I'm just like,
yeah, exactly. He is a nobody, right. And they do have the 2 Matias coming back soon, and that'll make him irrelevant. And I hope he's the one that just completely leaves the team, honestly. But you saw there are passes that certain 12s you want to have in the locker. He doesn't have them. He tried them both. He tried them twice, and they were both awful. One ended up in a knock on, one ended up in a forward pass. And I was like, nope, that's not your pass. And the fact that you don't have it means you probably shouldn't be playing 12, which means you probably shouldn't be in this team.
Right.
And a slightly better pass to Radwan, and he scores. He didn't even need to put it that flat. It could have been a little bit behind him, and Radwan probably would have still scored, because he's Adam Radwan and he had space. Good. So I think he would have been fine. So yeah, just a guy that I wish Newcastle would stop playing, and I hope the new coach just says, yeah, we probably don't need this anymore, so I'm just gonna bag you and send you home.
Right. and yeah, he and Wakoki Cookie are just not.
Oh God, he was bad. He was bad too.
Not Prem quality, and that's
no.
That's you're not going to win without strong centers.
No, that was he was quite poor as well. So really a problem, and they don't get to solve that problem until another week plus.
Why is Mateo Carreras on the bench?
No idea.
You need players who can play, and yet you're throwing that Drek out there, and maybe I don't know how they're not considering throwing Wakoki Koki in at 12, because I think he might
be more useful. Yeah,
he might be more useful there, and put an Earl at 13, because he doesn't have the speed anymore, and still needs some help. At wing, he's kind of lost. So I know he scored last week, but that was kind of like an open play.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Whatever. This is, Carreras is so much better. And real in a threat, and that opens up the space for Radwan, and maybe gets Alex Tate a little bit of more open field. But you have to threaten. You have to at least make teams worry about the outside. And Earl's not. If Earl's on that side, I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll catch up to you. Don't worry about it.
Right.
You don't have to defend that side so much.
Yeah,
we can focus all our attention on Radwan's side.
Yeah, it's just it makes you scratch your head a little bit, and you're like, what are we doing here, guys? So new coaching staff, so hopefully this eventually shakes out, and we're not looking at too much more of this drab that
I think we are, though.
Yeah, I know. Just another week.
Right.
Yeah, Dave Walder's got a bit of fixing to do with this one, so we'll see. And then last one on what's up.
And here's the problem with the last one, is just as we were talking about with Quinn Saris, and you want a spectacle, on its own, but not with 4 other matches going at the same time. You have Exeter going to Worcester as your the one match everybody can watch on Sunday. And first off, yuck with this matchup. It's gross. But second off, now you're in Worcester, and the whole match you're talking about how fucked up the ownership is, and how bad it is. And the fans, they cheer at the 65th minute, and they have to explain why the fans are cheering at that minute and what it all means. And it's like, this is not a good representation of the sport. This is not a way to sell the sport. Like, game aside, the game was shit anyway, but like, that's not how you sell the sport. It's bad for rugby.
Right. Well, whereas you could, and there was another, the other match I was getting into, unfortunately, was not that one. It was the Wasps and Bears. That would have been one to put on. We
skipped over one. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you were ready to jump on.
I'm ready to fucking tear up that one.
But this wasn't exactly. This was scrappy, as Flatman described it. Like, and it's not inaccurate. So, this is one that had the potential, and it definitely was let down by all means. There was nothing pretty about any of this. There was some good play from a few guys, Atkinson and Willis on one side, and Sheedy. Richard Lane is a name that we're gonna have to learn how to remember what he can do, so on and so forth. Just it had the potential at least to go boom, and that's kind of what you want.
And it's just Wasps they're missing, so it's like they're just not clicking, and that's unfortunate, because when they do click, they're quite good.
And I still think they'll come good.
I think they will. There's definitely potential there. I mean, like, you look at who they've played, Gloucester and Bristol, both of whom are trying for top four and have every reason to believe that they could make it.
A realistic expectation to get there.
And they had lost a close. Well, they had a 21-0 lead on Gloucester, and now on this one it was close at half, and then they just let it get away. They got to work on their finishing.
Yeah, something's going on at half there.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes, but just the same, Bristol are 2-0 as well now, so they're up.
Bradbury's he's coming good.
Yeah, he's
tries it 2 matches. It's not bad. Yeah, and Count Sheedy is clearly feeling the pressure.
Right, and I don't think he particularly performed extremely well, but found the goods when he needed it. So I'll give him that. And we saw a whole lot of Tom Willis ass.
Again, that's intentional, by the way. Now it's the second. One time
he had underdrawers on too. Yeah, undershorts on too. Shit. All right, then we'll go to Sunday, and yes, it was unfortunate that we're not talking about the match. We're talking about things going on with the club, and that was definitely second banana to unfortunately the match that's just how it was.
Yeah,
and Exeter did the job they needed to. There's no doubt about that. I was happy to see Worcester fight back and show that they can play, and we saw.
Well, it's the same old Worcester, right? It's the same old. We'll get into the 22 and then fuck it up. What else is new?
Right.
They had I think what the stat was, they had 7 entries or something like that in the first half, and was it 0 points? So
yeah, in the first half, it was a problem.
It had 7 points at the end of the first half. So yeah, not good. You can't have that many entries and not come good, and especially against a team like Exeter, because the holes were there. Exeter's defense is awful, by the way. I don't know if you'd noticed, but
it wasn't great.
Holes everywhere, and so a team, and this is now the second week in a row that Exeter are showing gaps to teams that they shouldn't have to. Like Leicester last week were kind of undermanned and undergunned, and still just ran through the Exeter defense like it's Swiss cheese. And this is very on Exeter, right? They're that's their solid defense and pound that rock, winning championships. Not that that's how you win championships anymore, but the defense isn't there. So
right.
And we're still seeing way too much of Ian Whitten, even though he did come off early, but still that's too much.
It's still too much.
And Capstick is just excellent. That's a find. He's got it. When
that was better.
I'm still nervous that when Sam Simmons comes back, that they're going to bench Capstick, and that you can't.
Yeah, for the two guys that are playing, and Shinza is not playing poorly. I don't.
No, he's
Kirsten,
not.
Though.
Yeah, Kirsten's.
He should bump into lock and play next to, Johnny Gray, and that should be the end of that.
Yep.
There are two guys that I do want to point out on Worcester that played huge roles, and you could see what good it did the way they tackled for the sake of Worcester's defense, and that was Andrew Kitchener and Fergus Lee Warner chopping bodies left, right, and center, and really it did a whole lot of good to their defense because one, Exeter were not able to get that game going with the gain line and whatever. They're big bodies on Exeter for sure, and they want to just roll through the tackle and have you go get 6 extra meters. But if you chop them down behind the line, as any team, but especially with these guys, their offense doesn't really go. They're forced, and they don't have that creativity within them right now to chuck it back and forth a little bit and maybe find a gap. They just don't have the type of players. Although they had one sitting on the bench, they didn't bring him on till late. Still, so I think that's kind of the blueprint a little bit to watch those two guys and the way they defended this team, and really great defending in any case. But especially against this team, that's a really good way to make sure that they don't get going in the ways that they like to play.
Right.
And then Ollie Lawrence was just super
How
fucking
good is he?
perb.
How good is he?
Yeah. Worcester boy through and through too. So you gotta feel good for him. And Joe Batley, who got loose as well. And he finished. He knew how to. He got it to Simpson. He knew what he was doing. He's like, I'm not getting this fucking thing away, but I gotta find a friend, and he did.
And he made the right read because the fullback coming over was coming outside. So the read is not to pass it out wide because he's already got the momentum going that way. The read is to pass it behind him,
back in,
and he did it. He read it right. Excellent play.
Well done to Joe.
Yeah.
Well done. All right.
And Gareth Simpson.
That's the Gareth Simpson we want. And that's what makes Scrum Halves good.
Yeah, that's the Gareth Simpson I want playing for Saracens when Worcester.
Yeah, right. We'll trade you. Have anybody not Ruben. Right. After that, I don't care.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. Well, that is that. That's the Rugby-ish pod. We crammed a lot into a reasonable amount of time, at least.
Did.
So we're going to jump over to Fantasy Corner and we'll look at all the happenings in that world. If you're not coming over there, we will catch you next week. We're going to be freaking 24 hours away from getting on a plane at that point.
You'll be excited. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be sitting here, hunched over. So if you're going to catch us then, we'll see you then, and enjoy the rugby this weekend. If not, we'll see you on the Fantasy Corner. Either way, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate you all, and have a good one.
Thank you.